When 18-year-old Kimberly Proctor sets out to meet her two best friends one morning in 2010, she has no idea that she will not survive the day. What begins as a harmless get-together ends in hours of torture and a crime of such unimaginable brutality that even the most experienced investigators are shocked. In today's video, we talk about the death of Kimberly Proctor and two underage murderers with a dark secret. Kimberly Proctor was born on January 1st, 1992. She grew up in Langford, a small town with a population of around 35,000 near Victoria, Canada. Langford, known for its lakes and breathtaking scenery, is considered one of the most livable cities in Canada. Kimberly's parents, Lucy, a supermarket manager, and Fred, a mechanic, love their two children very much and do their best to give Kimberly and her older brother Rob a good life. From an early age, Kimberly loves animals. She keeps several lizards, rabbits, hamsters, and mice in her room. She retains a childish, playful nature into her teenage years, which unfortunately also causes her some problems. She has difficulty fitting in at school. Her naive nature leads to her being bullied and excluded. Nevertheless, over the next few years, she manages to build up a small, stable circle of friends. This consists mainly of other outsiders. She spends a lot of time with them, meeting up at the mall and occasionally smoking weed. Soon after, Kimberly gets together with her first boyfriend, Zach. But after only a few months, the relationship breaks down. Kimberly struggles with ADHD, which presents her with major challenges at school. She's also afraid of large crowds and suffers from recurring panic attacks, which only exacerbate the bullying she experiences. When she's not feeling well, she takes refuge at home in MSN chats with her friends. Two of her best friends are Cruz Wellwoods and Cameron Moffat. Cruz is the son of Robert Raymond Deswar, a convicted murderer and sex offender. Robert poisoned and killed a girl in 2001 and has been serving a life sentence ever since. Cruz suffers from his father's arrest and is therefore shunned by his classmates. But instead of learning from this, he also accumulates several criminal convictions for theft and possession of marijuana. He's described as arrogant and rude. But he and Kimberly hit it off right away, and he behaves differently towards her. His best friend Cameron Moffat also has behavioral problems. Cameron is a year older than Cruz and also has a difficult past. He was abused at the age of 3, which led to aggressive behavior towards his parents and severe self-harm. He even brings a knife to school with him so he can cut himself there too. Both Cruz and Cameron are classified as high risk by their school. But the teachers do not react, and no one involves the authorities. Cruz and Cameron spend a lot of time together. They skip school, watch porn, and smoke weed. In February 2009, Cruz writes on his blog about the early warning signs of a serial killer and lists characteristics such as arson, animal cruelty, and antisocial behavior. He writes underneath, "The strange thing is that I meet all 14 criteria for being a serial killer. Although all the criteria apply, it seems unlikely that I am a serial killer. But I guess time will tell." Despite her problematic behavior, Kimberly gets along well with the two of them. They chat a lot on MSN, talk about their insecurities, and play computer games together. After breaking up with Zach, Kimberly is not doing well. During this time, Cruz and she grow closer, and he eventually confesses his feelings to her. "I don't want to lie to you, it doesn't feel right. Normally that's not difficult for me, but you make me want to be honest. You're great. It wouldn't be fair to lie to you." "Oh, thank you. Sometimes I only eat one meal a day. One of the reasons is because Zach sometimes said things to me. Did he call you fat?" "No, he said I had a big butt and that I should take the fat from there to make my breasts bigger." You are beautiful just the way you are. He just doesn't have good taste in women. So when we texted so much the last few days, did that make you really happy? Absolutely. Oh, really? Really? Kimberly appreciates his openness and begins to trust him more and more. But Cameron also shows interest in her and confesses his feelings to her. I would love to ask you out on a date, even though I know the answer will be no. I don't know what to say. I would like to date you because I really like you. You looked good today, but you always do. Oh, thank you, that's sweet of you. I hope you have a good night and maybe I'll see you tomorrow. I'm sorry. What? That I can't make you feel better because you deserve only the very best. At first, Cameron seems charming and sincere. But when Kimberly starts dating Zach again, he becomes increasingly manipulative and intrusive. A chat history shows particularly clearly how far he will go when he is rejected. Where's the party? In my pants? You're on the VIP list. Cool, I've never been on a VIP list before. Who else is coming? Cruz? Nope, it's exclusive. No one else, just you and me. What kind of party is just for two people? A very special party. Will there be music and candy? Yes, lollipops. They're big and hard. They have a creamy filling if you take them and suck on them enough. Don't tell me there are no such lollipops. It's special, all right? I think you're drunk, and I think you're naive. No, so are you coming? I can't. But then we can't have the party. You're the guest of honor. So baby, are you excited? Don't call me baby, I hate it when guys call me that. Then I'll call you Bunny. I'm officially disturbed. You said you wanted my lollipop? No, I said I wanted candy. And I offered you my lollipop and you wanted it. So when you say lollipop, do you mean the candy or your dick? My dick. But I meant the candy lollipop. You're scaring me. I wonder what Zach would say if he read the first part of this conversation. What? You're mean. Well, it doesn't look good for you. Yeah, because I thought you meant candy. Well, he wouldn't know that. Then I'll explain it to him. Who do you think he'll believe more? You or Cruz and me? Cam, seriously, stop it. I never said I wanted your dick. I just said I wanted candy and made a joke. So stop it. Yeah, but if I send him the first part, it still looks like you want me and Cruz. So you're going to do what I say, or I'll show him. Do you understand? Do you understand me? Answer my damn question. Do you understand what I'm saying? No, what the hell do you want? I want you to turn on your webcam and take off your shirt. Then I'll leave you alone and you can date Zach again. What the fuck? What will you lose if you do it? Nothing. And what will you lose if you don't? You'll lose Zach. Stop it. I will if you do what I want. Show me your tits. No, I'm not doing anything. You have nothing on me. I haven't done anything. But I can make it look that way. Don't forget, I'm a computer nerd. If I wanted to, I could hack you. I told you I get what I want. Cam, if you do that, I'll never speak to you again. And why should I care? Stop it. Then do what I want. No. Then live with the consequences. What's wrong with you? You've never been like this before. Kimberly desperately turns to Cruz for help. But he just plays down Cameron's behavior. He's been drinking scotch and cough syrup all evening, so don't worry about him. Over the next few weeks, Cruz and Cameron argue more and more at home. At times, they even become violent toward their parents. When the two meet, they look at more and more violent posts and read about abuse in online forums. Sometimes they even drink blood. Kimberly also notices a change in her two friends. They increasingly turn away from her and begin to tease her and deliberately exclude her. Cruz in particular becomes increasingly threatening in chats. On November 23, 2009, Kimberly writes to him, "Why are you bullying me? I haven't done anything to you. Could you answer me? I've been talking to someone more important. To be honest, I don't care enough about you to bully you. If I were bullying you, I would have destroyed you mentally long ago. You would probably have killed yourself by now. I could show you things about yourself that would make you doubt your existence, but it would take more time than I want to invest. I have better things to do." The next day, November 24th, the chat continues. Cruz writes to her, "Could you stop writing to me? I have more important things to do. You're the one who wrote to me. You and Cameron are like that to me. I deserve to know why you're suddenly acting like assholes. You don't deserve anything. And why is that? What the hell is going on here? What did I do to you? I didn't do anything wrong. Why are you and Cameron suddenly treating me like this?" In March 2010, Kimberly breaks off all contact with the two of them. They only see each other at school, but no longer write or talk to each other. But on the night of March 17th to 18th, Cruz suddenly writes to her again. "Hey, I was just about to call you, but my phone is dead. What do you want? What are you doing tomorrow?" "Nothing special. I'm babysitting around 3 p.m. It's boring, and I'm looking for someone to chill with. I also wanted to apologize. There are some things I'd like to tell you in person. About the whole Zach thing. I don't want to talk about Zach. It's more about why Cam and I and everyone was so mean to you. I have to be honest, when I read your messages, I was shocked and confused. Like I told you, I'd like to clear this up in person. We can meet tomorrow after babysitting and talk about everything. But appearances can be deceiving." While he's texting Kimberly, Cruz also has a chat open with Cameron. In it, they fantasize about torturing Kimberly. Cruz writes, "I'm gonna rip out her nose ring and burn her. We'll burn her flesh. Why don't we let her live and tie her up? We'll do that, but first I have to get her stoned and seduce her. LOL, try to do it quickly. I'll say I'm making mac and cheese and then we'll attack her." On March 18th, 2010, Kimberly turns 18. She has the day off from school. Her mother, Lucy, says goodbye in the morning and drives to work. Later, Kimberly wants to go babysitting and continue sewing her prom dress in the evening. But first, she wants to meet Cruz and Cameron and hear what they have to say. At 10 a.m., Kimberly gets on the bus. Half an hour later, she gets off where she's supposed to meet Cruz and Cameron. The two are already waiting for her there. She's wearing a black hoodie with the number 13 on it and pink chucks. The three of them walk through the city together before going to a small house on Happy Valley Road. This is where Cruz lives with his mother. However, she's not at home. In the evening, Kimberly's mother is very worried. She has learned that Kimberly did not show up for her babysitting job and her cell phone seems to be turned off. This is very unusual for the otherwise reliable 18-year-old. Lucy calls all her friends, but no one has heard from Kimberly, so she finally alerts the police. On the evening of March 18th, several police cars comb the area, ringing neighbors' doorbells and searching for clues. Meanwhile, Kimberly's family distributes flyers around town. They are certain that something must have happened to her. But even the next day, there are no new clues and the police are still in the dark. On March 19th, a teenager makes a gruesome discovery. He finds Kimberly's burned remains in the woods under a bridge on the Galloping Goose Trail, a popular hiking trail. She can only be identified by her teeth. When it becomes clear that it is Kimberly's body, her family is devastated. The police quickly develop the theory that Kimberly must have known her killer. Since she spent a lot of time chatting and surfing the internet, investigators begin to follow her digital trail. It soon becomes clear that she last wrote to Cruz. But even before he can be identified as the perpetrator, he himself talks about his gruesome deed. 5 days after Kimberly's disappearance, Cruz confesses what he has done to his new girlfriend, whom he met through World of Warcraft. He switches to the in-game chat specifically for this purpose, believing that he cannot be traced there. He tells her that he has read all the articles about Kimberly's death in the last few days and is certain that the police already suspect him. He even sends her several newspaper articles about the case via MSN. His girlfriend is shocked, but plays along and pretends to support him in order to get more details out of him. and her plan works. Cameron also joins their chat and admits that they killed Kimberly together. The two had already aroused suspicion at school in the days leading up to the murder. They said that no one would care that Kimberly was dead and that they were glad about it because they hated her. Just a few days later, Cruz and Cameron also write to each other privately about the murder. They exchange messages saying how easy it was and that they should do it again. At the end of March 2010, the two were questioned by the police for the first time. They denied having anything to do with the crime, but the evidence against them was mounting. Their cell phones were monitored, their homes were searched, and even the pavilion in a park where they often met was bugged. By June, investigators have finally gathered enough evidence. Through search queries and chat logs, they know that Cruz and Cameron are responsible for the crime. During further interrogations, Cameron denies everything for 8 hours until he finally confesses. Cruz also confesses. Only now does the full extent of the cruel crime become known. On the day of her disappearance, Kimberly goes with the two to Cruz's home. She hopes to have a clarifying conversation with her former best friends, but instead, she falls into a diabolical trap. Cruz suddenly says, "I'm making mac and cheese," a code word they had agreed on beforehand, and immediately Cameron and he attack the 18-year-old. They kick and beat her, stuff a sock in her mouth, and tape her mouth shut. The two continue to torture her, injuring her with a knife, abusing her, and inserting garbage into her body. During the abuse, Cruz opens a chat with Kimberly and writes to her, "Hey, I thought you were babysitting. Are you done early?" He writes this to give himself an alibi. They torture Kimberly for several hours and then put her body in a freezer in the garage. It is unclear whether she is already dead or still alive at this point. A friend of Cruz's sends him several messages on MSN at the time. When Cruz does not respond, he eventually writes, "Dude, talk." Cruz replies, "Sorry, the freezer was jumping around." This message could be interpreted either as Cruz claiming to have repaired the freezer and therefore not being able to write, or it could be taken literally, which would mean that Kimberly was still alive in the freezer and tried to free herself, causing the freezer to move. It is not known which of these is true, as Cameron and Cruz remain silent on the matter. After the murder, Cameron texts his ex-girlfriend to ask if she wants to come over. She declines, which probably saves her life. After the crime, the two pack Kimberly's body into a hockey bag. Early in the morning, they take the bus to the forest. They go deeper and deeper into the forest until they arrive under the bridge on Galloping Goose Trail. There, they pour methylated spirits over the bag and set it on fire. Meanwhile, Cruz sends a text message. This is a crucial mistake, as his cell phone data later locates him at the scene of the crime. After the murder, both of them seem to continue their lives as normal. Cameron goes to a family brunch and Cruz meets up with a friend. Even after their confession, the two show no remorse. They say they plan to continue killing until they were caught. As the two are brought to court together, a microphone records their conversation. They do not discuss the seriousness of their actions, but rather mundane topics. Does my hair look better this way, or should I do it like this? Because I think if it's greasy anyway, I might as well put it back. By the way, my lawyer said that you might be sentenced under juvenile law because you were still a minor when you committed the crime. Yes, I know, and you're still a minor. They really stroked my ego when they said how smart they think I am and that I'm good at manipulation. Seriously? They tried to make it look like I had been taken advantage of. I made this face during the whole interrogation. I laughed at half of what they said and sat there with a huge grin on my face. They said, "Do you feel any remorse? Do you regret it anywhere in your heart?" A psychological evaluation concludes that both are to be classified as sociopathic. They exhibit sadistic behavior, and experts believe that they would reoffend. The prognosis is sobering. There is little chance of rehabilitation. Both are found guilty and sentenced under adult criminal law. The sentence is life imprisonment, with the possibility of parole after 10 years. For Kimberly's family, this verdict is a slap in the face. They are stunned and deeply disappointed. Kimberly's father, Fred, becomes particularly active, publicly advocating for stricter measures to identify behavioral problems in young people at an early stage. His efforts contribute to the introduction of corresponding early warning systems in politics. At the end of 2019, both Cruz and Cameron apply for parole. Fred responds by writing to numerous major newspapers. In an open letter, he demands that everything about the torture and murder of Kimberly finally be made public. People need to know what these two young men did to our daughter. My wife has suffered from severe depression and anxiety ever since, and the situation has been exacerbated by the parole applications. New psychological assessments in 2019 confirm that both continue to pose a high risk and cannot be rehabilitated. However, the hearing for their parole is delayed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Kimberly's parents finally attend Cameron's hearing, and Fred says afterwards, "They shouldn't have to come to the parole hearing 14 years later. He should stay in prison and rot forever. Life should mean life." Cameron himself shows little remorse during the hearing. He admits that planning the murder was a source of excitement for him and gave him an outlet to let go of everything that had built up over the years. At the same time, he claims that he did not believe it would actually happen. Finally, he says, "I take responsibility for the murder of Kimberly." Members of the parole board expressed concern about Cameron's justification and the fact that she continued to have regular contact with Cruz even after the murder. Ryan Nash, a member of the board, says, "When I read her file, I get the feeling that she loved her co-defendant and would do anything to make him happy." Cameron agrees that he had an unhealthy attachment to Cruz, but claims to have had no contact with him since 2021. Kimberly's grandmother says, "What Cameron and Cruz did was despicable. Only a very evil mind could conceive of such a thing. He has not taken full responsibility for his actions. That became quite clear today when he downplayed his actions." On August 4th, 2022, both are denied parole. Cruz's lawyers file an appeal, but it is also denied. The decision states, "The last psychological risk assessment was completed in April 2022. The psychologist concluded that their risk of general violent and sexual recidivism remains high. Their potential for reintegration is low. There is no community strategy that could meet their risk needs or mitigate their ongoing high risk. So Cameron and Cruz will remain in prison until further notice." Kimberly's family continues to fight to ensure that the case is not forgotten and that the actions of the two convicts are not downplayed. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Kimberly suffered a truly cruel death, and I hope for her and her family that her killers spend the rest of their lives in prison. From the beginning, there were many warning signs that were ignored by those responsible. I am glad that Kimberly's father was able to bring about change through his efforts and that early warning systems have been introduced. I hope Kimberly's family has been able to find some peace. What do you think about this case and, above all, about the court's ruling? You can write to me in the comments. This way, you also support this channel. If a video receives a lot of interaction shortly after it is published, it is more likely to be suggested to people who have not yet subscribed to Insolito. Remember to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell. Other than that, there's not much else to say. Thank you for watching the video, and I wish you a good day, afternoon, or evening, depending on the time you're watching it, and I hope to see you again in the next video. Until then, goodbye, friends.